Staying with politics now, in your vote 2024, President Joe Biden, he's vowing to stay in the race. He is back on the campaign trail today in Michigan after hosting world leaders for the NATO summit and holding a rare solo news conference last night. Our Washington correspondent Michael Yoshida joins us live with the very latest as questions do continue to swirl about his candidacy this evening. Michael.
Well, certainly getting a little bit more feedback now than even a week ago.
Hey, good evening, Dakari. And when we talk about President Biden's campaign, now we're hearing that former President Barack Obama as well as Nancy Pelosi are speaking privately, raising concerns about Biden's campaign and his ability to beat former President Donald Trump. Those conversations happening as the New York Times is reporting tens of millions of dollars in contributions to his campaign now on hold from major donors. Still, Biden saying he's in it to win it.
After hosting NATO leaders in Washington this week, President Joe Biden heading back on the campaign trail as he vows to stay in the 2024 presidential race.
I'm just going to keep moving.
In a press conference Thursday, Biden looked to put aside concerns over his debate performance and ability to beat former President Donald Trump.
I'm the most qualified person to run for president. I beat him once, and I will beat him again.
There was a notable gaffe when he mistakenly referred to Vice President Harris as Trump, but the president also offered in-depth answers on foreign policy and the economy.
We're seeing President Biden talk about foreign policy and all these leaders and these issues. Trump is down at Mar-a-Lago with Orban, an authoritarian, egotistical sycophant of Putin.
But more lawmakers are calling on Biden to step aside, including the top Democrat on the House Intelligence Committee.
We just went 10 days where the story was not Donald Trump promising totalitarianism. It was, how is Joe Biden going to do in the big boy press conference?
In a statement Friday, House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries announced he met with the president Thursday night, expressing heartfelt perspectives and conclusions about the path forward that the caucus has shared in our recent time together. But Jeffries did not explicitly endorse Biden's campaign. This comes as vulnerable House and Senate Democrats worry Biden's candidacy will impact their own races, putting the congressional balance of power at risk.
And Saturday, President Biden will meet virtually with a group of congressional Democrats. Next week, he heads to Texas and Nevada. While in Texas, he'll sit down for another high-stakes national interview as he tries to convince both voters and lawmakers that he's up for a second term. Live at the White House, Michael Yoshida, Wish TV.
Michael Yoshida outside the White House tonight for us. Thank you so much.